afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla says the government is pursuing its second high-profile case against Beijing over the South China Sea. In a Reuters exclusive report, a senior government source says the United States moves its Typhon launchers from Lawag airfield to another location in Luzon. The 17 Filipinos freed in Yemen after more than a year of captivity are now back home. We'll speak with the Department of Migrant Workers later in the show. And Wicked star Ariana Grande took to Instagram her gratitude for her first Oscar nomination. Thanks for joining us. The government is eyeing a second high-profile case against Beijing over the South China Sea dispute. Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla says they're now in discussion on which legal forum to file the case, which points to damage to the environment. In 2016, the Philippines won a landmark case at the Permanent Court of Arbitration, junking China's sweeping claim of sovereignty over the South China Sea, saying it has no basis under international law. China has never recognized the decision of the arbitration court. The Philippine Coast Guard successfully pushes a Chinese vessel further away from Zambales, the PCG says, through the seamanship skills of personnel aboard their BRP Cabra. The Coast Guard vessel 3103 was kept from getting closer to the province. It is now located some 80 to 90 nautical miles off the Zambales coast. The Coast Guard vows continuous monitoring of the vessel, which is still inside the country's exclusive economic zone. It adds it has been consistently conducting radio challenges against the Chinese ship. The 17 Filipino seafarers who were held hostage by Houthi rebels for more than a year are now finally home. They arrived last night and were welcomed by various officials, including DFA Secretary Enrico Manale and Migrant Workers Chief Hans Kakdak. The seafarers were on board the MV Galaxy Leader when they were taken November 2023. They were released and turned over to the Omani government Wednesday as part of the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. And for more on that, we will have the Department of Migrant Workers later in the show. We will pause for a break. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. You're back on Newsfeed at noon. The 17 Filipino seafarers who were held hostage by Houthi rebels for more than a year are now back home. Let's now get an update on their situation. Joining us on the line is Migrant Workers Undersecretary Felicitas Bai. Good afternoon, Yusek Bai.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mai, and to all your listeners or televiewers.
Yusek, where are the 17 Pinoy seafarers now, and what's their status? Nakapag-undergo na ba sila ng medical checkup and all the necessary protocol?
Yeah. The 17 seafarers, they are now with their respective families, and they're housed in a facility under the custody or handled by the Philippine Recruitment Agency. So they're all of them, all the 17 together with the families, it's care of the Philippine Recruitment Agency.
Mm-hmm. Yusek, what else can you tell us about the care that's being given to them and yung reunion nila with their families? Matagal-tagal din silang nawala, because it's, I think, 14 months they were held in captivity.
Yes, they were held in captivity for almost 429 days. And yesterday, it was a joyous occasion at the airport. We were at NAIA 1 and their families welcomed them, of course, together with the different government agencies who assisted in their return. And they will undergo some physical and medical and psychosocial counseling during the weekend. In fact, yesterday we also have the Department of Health assistant secretary, who's also a doctor, and he gave an initial finding or an initial assessment that everybody looks good. I mean, in normal physical condition, but they have to undergo some tests.
Okay, well, the Houthi group has just been labeled again by the Trump administration, by President Donald Trump, as a terrorist organization. At matagal na rin po silang nangho-hostage dyan, ano, sa mga crew on the high seas. Ano? So what's being done to provide more protection, Yusek, to our seafarers and prevent similar incidents?
Okay. The DMW has met since the time that they were captive in November 2023. We have continuing dialogues and coordination with the licensed recruitment agencies, and we have come out, the Department of Migrant Workers, in a directive by the Secretary, Attorney Gov't, have come out with issuances. One would be the right to refuse sailing, so the seafarer will not be required or obliged to sail if he doesn't want to. And then there's also another directive on diverting or diversion of routes, so to avoid passage into the Red Sea. So we have those issuances, and we constantly meet with the licensed manning group so as to have or to avoid situations like this.
All right, thank you for your time, ma'am. Maraming salamat po. Migrant workers,
Okay.
Yusek. Felicitas, bye. Let's get an update on the Commission on Elections preparations for the May midterm polls. We have on the phone Francis Falve. Francis, what's the latest from the COMELEC?
Yes, Mai, in a media forum this morning, COMELEC Chairman Attorney George Erwin Garcia said that postponed ballot printing will resume on Monday, despite pending SC decisions on appeals filed by some local and national candidates. The role of technology as a tool to enhance democracy, particularly this coming midterm election, was also discussed. Garcia emphasized that artificial intelligence plays a vital role in monitoring and protecting the election process. He further stressed that the COMELEC is making a strong alliance with the Department of Information and Technology, Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, the National Telecommunications Commission, and law enforcement agencies to intensify a crackdown against entry of text blast machines and similar technology. He also said that during the previous barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, e-wallets was not used in vote buying because of their coordination with e-wallet companies enforcing limits in cash transfer. Although the recent military clash in Basilan has no political connection, the COMELEC is also considering to change its area of concern status upon the recommendation of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police. Garcia is also satisfied with the police and military crackdown on private armies and the ongoing gun ban, which yields a positive response from the public to ensure a safe election this May. Lastly, the COMELEC chairman would like to remind the public he said, bumoto ng tama, huwag iboto ang may tama, or simply to exercise the right to vote and use the right wisely. Mai?
Thank you for that report, Francis Falve. Despite the controversy surrounding the prevention of the Adolescent Pregnancy Act, various groups are calling for its passage before the 19th Congress wraps up. Agatha Gregorio is on the line, reporting from a press conference in Quezon City. Agatha, what are the groups saying about the bill?
Mai, just like the bill's author, various groups are condemning the alleged disinformation being about the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Bill, or SB 1979. The Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development stressed there is nothing on the bill removing parental authority to teach children on sexuality. They add the bill seeks to help parents navigate the challenge of educating kids on sensitive topics like sex. The Forum for Family Planning and Development says girls aged 9 to 16 years old are 5 times more at risk for rape, hence the push for comprehensive sexuality education. Mai?
So, Agatha, we know that a substitute bill has been filed. What do these groups think about this?
Even if some believe there was nothing wrong with the original bill, they all expressed support for the substitute bill. The group Democratic Socialist Women of the Philippines appeals to senators to review the bill carefully, asking them to give the youth a chance for a good life. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you, Agatha Gregoria there reporting. Former New York Mayor and billionaire Michael Bloomberg is stepping in to help fund the U.S. contribution to the UN climate body's budget through his philanthropic arm, a move that could have wider implications for global climate efforts and sustainable investments. The funding fills a gap left by President Donald Trump, who has cut support for international climate initiatives. Bloomberg, who also serves as a UN Special Envoy on climate change, has not disclosed how much his foundation will contribute.
The American government may have pulled out of the Paris Agreement, but the American people are committed to its goals, and there is nothing Washington can do to stop us. Let me remind you again, halfway there already with virtually no help from the federal government. We are going to get there.
Bloomberg also pledged to work with states, cities, and businesses to ensure the U.S. stays engaged in global climate efforts. This matters for businesses, including in the Philippines, as climate policies shape investments, regulations, and market trends, especially in renewable energy and sustainable finance. President Donald Trump says he will appeal a temporary restraining order blocking his policy to restrict birthright citizenship, a move that could have far-reaching effects on immigration, labor markets, and the U.S. economy. A Seattle federal judge issued the TRO on Thursday, calling the order blatantly unconstitutional. The policy has already triggered 5 lawsuits from civil rights groups and attorney generals from 22 states. They argue the order violates the citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment, which guarantees that anyone born in the U.S. is a citizen. The Philippine economy could be affected by the Trump administration's policy on illegal migrants. An economic watchdog also says the peso could further slide against the dollar this year. Francis Falve returns with this report.
The exchange rate could possibly fall to over 60 to a dollar due to the widening trade deficit and weakening foreign remittances to the country. According to Ibon Foundation Executive Director Sani Africa, data from the accounting system on remittances shows that 50 to 55% or more than half of incoming remittances from abroad came from the United States.
Without any precision, walang duda, the biggest source of overseas remittances is the U.S.
This is why Trump's 2.0 crackdown on illegal migrants is expected to have a significant impact on the Philippine economy.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
Well, right now there are about, I think, 300, depending sa estimates, about 330 to 370,000 undocumented Filipinos in the U.S. So if the first wave of undocumented Filipinos are sent back to the Philippines, whatever they would have been remitting, wala na yon.
The Philippine Embassy in the U.S. had earlier warned undocumented Filipinos and urged them to return home before Trump's crackdown policy takes effect. While many Phil-Am support Trump's move, it also poses risks to some of them or their relatives.
Because the second wave is also cracking down making it harder even for legal migrants. Kaya nakatakot yung mga Pilipino na nagsasabi, we support that crackdown kasi naghirap kami to stay in the US, not knowing it's a slippery slope eh. Because if you're cracking down on migrants to protect American jobs, low-hanging fruit, undocumented. But kung yung logic na yan can actually extend to tighter visa requirements for Filipinos and other nationalities.
Because of this, foreign investments could decline unless the Philippines secures large foreign loans to offset the drop in remittances.
The Philippine government does not have the reserves to protect the peso. It will just get worse if, again, volatile yan, if the Trump administration takes economic policies that actually cause more global volatility. In general, there are much more reasons for the peso to fall below 60 pesos than reasons to believe it will strengthen.
Africa also added that the ongoing territorial dispute between the Philippines and China is affecting the economy. This impact is already being felt in the tourism industry, as seen in the decline in Chinese tourist arrivals in 2024, which was previously a key source of foreign exchange.
The Philippines should realize it is in a geopolitical sweet spot. Both the US and China actually have an interest in the Philippines. So we argue if the Philippines had a longer view of development in mind, it can actually use being in that sweet spot to get concessions for technology, investment, aid, trade, tourists from both the US and China.
Technically, the Philippines could use the situation to its advantage to facilitate an exchange of economic benefits among the Philippines, the United States, and China. The question is, what steps will the government take? Francis Polbe, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Coming up, Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong laments the unresolved Mama Sapano massacre. Newsfeed at noon. We'll be right back after this short break. You're back on Newsfeed at noon. Recapping today's headlines, Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla says the government is pursuing its second high-profile case against Beijing over the South China Sea. In a Reuters exclusive report, a senior government source says the United States moves its Typhon launchers from Lawag airfield to another location in Luzon. The 17 Filipinos freed in Yemen after more than a year in captivity are now back home. And Wicked star Ariana Grande took to Instagram to convey her gratitude for her first Oscar nomination. Tomorrow, the nation marks the 10th anniversary of the Mama Sapano massacre in Maguindanao, where 44 young members of the Special Action Force died while chasing a terrorist. In an interview with BNC's At the Forefront, Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong laments the case has not yet been fully resolved.
Cases where alam mo naman kami, we're just finding a body, and Attorney Karen, you help us a lot, especially in the preparation of the document. Not a lot of people are aware of this, kaya napakalaki ng role ni Attorney Karen dito. On the sidelines siya nagtatrabaho. But nonetheless, we prepared all the documents, we gave it to the investigating body, sa NBI, tapos pinadala din namin ng kopya yung National Prosecution Service. So, nag-file naman ng case, but unfortunately, all the cases that were filed were dismissed. No? Tapos, nag-refile uli kami when I became mayor. I was asked again by the families, represented by Attorney Ferdy Capasio, na mag-file uli kami. So, binago namin, winidraw namin yung weak cases, tapos nag-refile uli. Pero unfortunately, na-dismiss uli yung case. Kaya hanggang ngayon, nakalungkot nga na wala pa rin nananagot.
The Philippines is boosting efforts to draw more foreign investments with a new promotion plan set to run until 2028. This move is aimed at driving economic growth and job creation. As Sujin Kim reports, the country recorded 1.6 trillion in investments last year.
After recording 1.62 trillion pesos in investments in 2024, the government is ramping up efforts to further boost foreign direct investments this year. The Board of Investments is set to roll out its Strategic Investment Promotion Plan 2025 to 2028 by mid-year, a move seen as a strong complement to key economic reforms and policies. The European Chamber of Commerce has outlined its top priorities for this year, with the EU-Philippines Free Trade Agreement leading the wish list. Currently, the Philippines enjoys FTAs with countries such as Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, and Liechtenstein, granting duty-free market access and lower trade barriers.
It is also clear that the FTA has not reached its full potential. Norwegian companies and investors are increasingly drawn to the Philippines and the Philippine market, attracted by robust growth and strategic opportunities.
Norwegian ambassador to the Philippines, Christian Lister, also pointed to booming sectors such as maritime, renewable energy, and seafood. Right now, more than 25,000 Filipinos are aboard Norwegian ships. On renewable energy, Norway is working with Aboitiz Power to build hydropower assets.
I am very optimistic that this trend will continue. Norway is committed to working with the Philippines, and Norway is very proud to support the Philippines in its efforts to achieve renewable energy targets with our companies.
These developments, in part, are credited to key economic reforms, including the recently enacted Create More Act. The Create More Act has benefited key sectors including export-oriented businesses, infrastructure, agribusiness, and the BPO industry. Among the incentives are tax exemptions and enhanced deduction regimes. Among the significant reforms implemented, the government has opened 100% foreign ownership for renewable energy projects and expanded foreign equity participation in telecommunication and infrastructure sectors.
The Philippines is creating a business-friendly environment, or shall I say, a more business-friendly environment through incentives, streamlined regulations, and innovation-friendly reforms. Whether through Create More, renewable energy, fintech, or IP protections, investors are encouraged to seize these opportunities to drive growth and success.
Together with HARTA's efforts to cut red tape, these initiatives position the Philippines as a dynamic, forward-looking economy ready for global challenges.
Meanwhile, Undersecretary Seferino Rodolfo emphasized the strong potential for a bilateral free trade agreement between the Philippines and America, following Donald Trump's return to the White House, a development that could pressure the EU to finalize the long-awaited EU-Philippines FTA.
Because if you look at President Trump during his first administration, he was actually the only recent U.S. president that welcomed a bilateral FTA with the Philippines.
Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Bilyonaryo Edgar Saavedra, founder of Gov't Construction, is reimagining first-world living in the Philippines with more flexible space and energy-saving features in its fresh batch of condo projects. G. Baroga has the details.
We want to deliver homes to Filipinos the quality that you should be getting.
That's the vision behind Gov't's property arm, PH1 World Developers, as they launched 3 groundbreaking projects aimed at reshaping the condo market in the Philippines.
We have pushed the limit in the Philippine construction industry in developing, bringing in new technologies from abroad, from Japan, from Germany, and then bring to the Philippines.
While some segments of the Philippine real estate market are currently oversaturated, Saavedra is confident their game plan will carry them through in a crowded market.
Our strategy right now is to push further the product to a lower segments, up to below 2.5 million, and bringing the same technology in terms of the production or construction methods, and give the same specs, which will be explained later, and the same quality.
Over the past decade, PH1 World Developers has revolutionized the property sector, pushing boundaries and breaking conventions. Now in 2025, they are set to raise the bar even further.
Condo living is often seen as all about great amenities but smaller space. Mega-wide construction and PH1 World Developers are changing that with their new projects in Cavite and Pasig City.
Gigi Alcantara, president of PH1, believes condo owners can enjoy high-end amenities in spacious, quality living spaces.
At PH1 World Developers, we just don't highlight our amenities. We focus more on the quality of your spaces, the daily living experience, because we understand that your unit is where you spend most of your time.
PH1's latest innovations include the Add Loft technology, which adds up to 40% more usable space per unit at no extra cost. This feature is available at One Lancaster Park in Imus, Cavite. Another innovation is the incorporation of energy-efficient designs aimed at cutting power bills, such as Solar Save, Resi Shade, and Tropicool technologies, all available at Southscape's Trece Martires, also in Cavite. Their newest offering is All-Out Fit-Out for Free or AF3, where every unit is fully fitted with high-end finishes and equipped with smart technology, including digital door locks, smart lighting, and modern kitchens and bathrooms. The latest development, Laiki Condo in Pasig City, will feature both the AF3 and Add Loft technologies.
These are not just features. These are real solutions that help create not just energy-efficient homes, but energy-efficient communities, which translates to better quality of life and sustainable future for generations to come.
Moreover, these developments are strategically located in areas with easy access to public transportation. G. Baraga, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Up next, Wicked star Ariana Grande gets emotional on her first Oscar nomination. Details after the break. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. You're still watching Newsfeed at noon. Let's now go to sports. The women's final at the Australian Open is all set. 19th seed Madison Keys from the U.S. stunned Polish second seed Iga Swiatek in the semifinals at Melbourne Park 5-6, 7-1, and 7-6. Keys arranges a showdown against reigning back-to-back women's champ Aryna Sabalenka. The championship match is scheduled for tomorrow, January 25th. Ariana Grande couldn't help but gush over her first Oscar nomination. Ariana is in the running for Best Supporting Actress for her role as Glinda in Wicked. The film is also the second most nominated movie in the 97th Academy Awards, earning a total of 10 nods. On Instagram, Ariana thanked the Academy for what she says is an unfathomable recognition. She even adds she cannot stop crying. Ariana also recalls studying how Judy Garland sang somewhere over the rainbow when she was young. Award-winning food content creator Abby Marquez dedicates her milestone collaboration with British celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay to her fellow food content creators. Marquez told BNC's It's a Beautiful Day that despite endorsements from culinary icons like Ramsay and Anthony Bourdain, Filipinos must do their part in promoting our own cuisine on the global stage.
I think it's also important to know the difference between validation and recognition.
Right.
I agree, we do not need validation from anyone else that our food is great.
Yes.
And it's also exactly why I am super proud to share my cuisine in my videos online. We do not need it, but that's why it's a collaboration. I really value that we collaborated, Chef Ramsay and I, because I don't need the validation, but it really helps that he recognized it. Kasi
Yes.
it's validation and recognition. Yeah. And I think the point of this post or this discussion is really just seeking the support, the same amount of support as when, for example, chefs like Gordon Ramsay or Anthony Bourdain, the same level of support that they receive, we should also give to
our cuisine.
our cuisine,
Yes.
our local chefs,
Yes.
to Filipino restaurants abroad or in here, because they're right. It really isn't sustainable to just bank on, for example, Chef Ramsay saying Filipino food is good.
It is not Squid Game without the iconic killer doll named Young-hee. But new surprises await the third season of the Netflix hit because the robotic doll gets some company. This time around, a male robotic doll called Chul-Soo. Details are still or have yet to be revealed about the role of this new killer doll in the series. The third and final season of Squid Game is set for release this year.
The most important thing was the facial impression. I tried to make the nose, mouth, and cheekbones look cute, but at the same time, I wanted the eyes to have a certain madness and show the moving eyeballs to work as a killer doll. So I designed her eyes quite big.
How does this cute kid suddenly turn into a killing machine? I think the creation of the Squid Game world by adopting unpredictable concepts and methods resonated with young people looking for fresh things.
And those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News channel. We'll see you again on Monday. Happy weekend.